Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Mark Ettensohn. Welcome to Heal NPD. For a lot of people, the holiday season is a mixed bag of happy reunions and bittersweet departures. But for some, this season is also a time of dreaded family get togethers, emotional pressure to perform or pretend, and unprocessed childhood trauma. In my clinical work and correspondences around this time of year, I often hear about feelings of stress, grief, anger, and longing for emotional connection and recognition that feels impossible to obtain. Across the country, many of us will find ourselves hosting or staying with family, trying to create the appearance of a pleasant gathering while the emotional reality in the room feels entirely different. The pressure of old relational dynamics settles in, and there's a familiar sense of returning to roles you've struggled to outgrow. Perhaps most difficult, there's an unspoken awareness that none of it can be productively addressed. The whole gathering sits atop a powder keg of fantastic relational tension and unexpressed emotion, and yet everyone is expected to act as though it's a cheerful, uncomplicated family holiday. So they make stronger drinks. They linger in the bathroom to eke out a few more minutes of blessed distraction on their phone. They avoid eye contact. They wonder why they've developed a tension headache or why they feel unsettled in their stomachs. They startle themselves by how short their patience is with their children, their partners, or their spouses. For lots of people, the holidays can recreate something much more complicated than family traditions. For many, they're active reenactments of the early relational dynamics that contributed to their mental health struggles in the first place. One of the themes that I repeatedly see this time of year is the sense of having to put on a mask around family members. People feel like they can't be honest about how they've been doing, what they're struggling with, or how they're feeling. Instead, there's this implicit pressure to perform a version of selfhood that the family has come to expect. The false self that's doing fine. The false self that's grateful to be there. The false self that never disrupts the family pattern. It's difficult to walk into a room knowing you need something emotionally from the people in it, and also knowing that you're unlikely to receive it. And it's not just the absence of support or understanding that hurts. It's also the tension between that longing and the recognition that it probably can't be met. Holding that contradiction takes a toll. So people find themselves pretending it's not there, because pretending feels safer than risking criticism, shame, or devaluation of your feelings. If you notice yourself bracing as you prepare for the holidays, that response makes sense. You're stepping back into an environment that has a strong emotional gravity. It evokes old roles and old defenses. You might feel pressure to pretend or pressure to fix something, pressure to finally interrupt the dysfunctional patterns you might have grown up with. You might feel like this is the year you have to drop your defenses and let people see how you're actually doing, how you're actually feeling, and how their behavior actually affects you. And maybe this is the year for that. But maybe it's not. And it's important to remember that both possibilities are completely acceptable. What matters is not forcing yourself into a corrective emotional experience. Pressure like that isn't usually helpful. It can be destabilizing, and it can actually make things worse. It's important to keep in mind that whatever your patterns are, they developed for a reason. They're rooted in emotional pain, relational impasse, and they may require skills to navigate that you were never allowed to develop. You don't have to resolve all of that in one weekend or over the span of one holiday. If anything, this may be a time to be especially gentle with yourself, to recognize the defensive performance without punishing yourself for relying on it, and to allow the possibility that growth doesn't always happen in dramatic ways. Try not to put pressure on yourself to be or feel any certain way. Sometimes the most meaningful thing you can do is simply to acknowledge the complexity and try to be with whatever parts are showing up. The hurt parts, the angry parts, the scared little kiddo parts, the parts that long for healing and reconciliation, and the parts that grieve for the love or connection that maybe you needed, but maybe didn't receive. Okay, so that's it for today. For those in California, I do have immediate therapy and assessment openings with my associates for a significantly reduced fee. If you feel like you're needing some support this holiday season, feel free to contact us through the website at healnpd.org. The link is in the description. And until next time, take good care.